on the previous episode of Speed Addict's Garage.
First test. Locking up. Alright, I'm over here at Wooten Chapel. I want to test my boost real quick. This is without any dome pressure, so this should be like Wastegate. That second is violet, and that's what slicks on it. All right, everybody. Maybe 2 weeks have passed since we last did a few modifications to the 240. To start off with, I was driving the car and I was basically overboosting. I put my dome pressure sensor in on the top port, configured it in the Holley. It just wasn't working. I called my boy Josh over at Underground Garage. He came through, and between me and him, mainly him, we found that my wastegate had a hole in the diaphragm. I mean, I've already put it all back together, but make a long story short, when I screwed in my dome pressure sensor, I don't know if you guys remember, but I drilled an extra hole and I screwed in my dome pressure sensor. Well, the dome pressure sensor actually went in too far and it actually scuffed the diaphragm. When the bottom port was getting air, the top port was getting air, and vice versa, it was bleeding. Matter of fact, let me show it to you real quick. Got my regulator, air pressure to it. There's nothing coming out this end. Start with the bottom port. Listen to the way this sounds when I add air pressure to it. So that's opening up, but look how much air is coming out through that. So to fix that problem, we basically ordered another wastegate. It is an eBay 50mm wastegate, maybe 68, 70 bucks. Again, the problem wasn't the wastegate. In this particular case, the problem was me, okay? Instead of drilling another hole on the top port, I just kept the same hole, did a T on it. I had to reconfigure my lines, so that's good. And another thing I did is I got rid of my catch can. Originally, my catch can was right there. And people won't tell you this, but when my motors boost, the rings are a little on the looser side. And with that being said, when you drive the car, coming out of the valve covers, you have a combination of vapor. You got a little bit of condensation like water. You got fuel vapor, oil vapor. Make a long story short, with that thing sitting right here and with me sitting right there driving with the windows down, every time I come in the house, man, my wife be like, "Oh, you stink." And she right, I did stink. I don't know whether driving this mug is shortening my life or not, but we got a different catch can and we actually moved it to the rear. Let me jack the car up and show it to you. So this is my catch can. It might be a little hard to see, but I'll put a picture in the bottom left hand or right hand or upper part of the screen to show you which one I got. Again, it is an eBay special -10, end coming in through the side, drain through the top. You might be able to get a glimpse of it up there, but it's got 2 filters on the top. Make a long story short, I wanted to put my catch can in the back of the car so that all the fuel vapors, all the whatever vapors I'm getting will be behind me, not in my cabin. And they're gonna contaminate my cotton clothes that I'm wearing. There was a hump section right here. This is what it looked like. As you can tell, all it was a couple spot welds. Painted it a little bit, made these 2 bracketries. And then of course my lines are gonna run down along the frame rail. I made this little piece right here. The thought process was, I'm coming from the engine, it's coming down, and this is gonna be the lowest point of the car before it goes back up to the catch can. So what I end up doing is taking some 1¼ inch outside diameter tubing, actually 1 inch inner diameter. The reason I did that was because these 4-10 weld-on bungs were exactly 1 inch, so I was able to bevel the edges, slide it in there, weld it all the way around. And then I've already had these, I wanna say 1/4 inch MPT threaded sections. All I had to do was buy these little cockpit drains. And I'm hoping with that combination, it's gonna work out good. So I guess all we gotta do now is drive it. We can drive it, test whether or not I smell like gas and combustible. And for 2, drive it to test if our dome pressure sensor with our non-leaking wastegate is working like it's supposed to, so we can get this thing on the dyno. So let's take it for a spin. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go to our boost ICF. Boost versus speed. Go over here to that table. And I'm gonna target, I'm gonna get brave, I'm gonna target 3 pounds. So basically what this says is that I want 3 PSI on top of the wastegate. There's a sensor to record that. So when it sees it, based on the Holley and the PID settings that are right here, basically which is standard. I need to change that to compressor. But yeah, based on my PID settings, that's what's gonna control my boost. I may need to play with these, but according to the internet, these settings are pretty daggone good from factory. So. What up, what up? So I may need to play with my PID terms a little bit, but I logged it. If possible, I kind of want to test my, matter of fact, let me test it right here. I kind of want to test my trans brake and bump. I'm gonna go to Mexico real quick, right here by some cows. I'm gonna adjust my launch. I got it at 3. I might adjust it like 5 PSI. Actually, I'm gonna leave it at, yeah. Let's see what happens. Good gracious.
3 days later.
One of the things that I needed to do on the 240 before we go take it to dyno is we got to change out the spark plugs. We are going from some TR6s, which I was using about 12 pounds of boost on 93. We're switching to these here. These are the BR70Fs. Basically the design is the same as the LS, and there's the part number 3346. I forget what they call it, but basically it's got that little bevel on it. It doesn't have a washer like other NGK plugs. It's got this little bevel, and I guess that's what you need for the LS. Another thing that we need to do is we need to change out our wastegate spring. Wastegate spring. Our particular wastegate, which is a knockoff 50 millimeter wastegate. It comes with 2 springs. One of them is a 7 pound, the other one's a 14 pound. I got the 7 pound installed, and after doing a pull and data logging it, It should be 7 pounds of boost, but I'm only getting like 3 to 4 pounds, which means that my turbine housing on the turbo is too small and the back pressure is opening up the valve too soon. So we're gonna swap the 7 spring or the 7 PSI spring with the 12. One of the little tricks, I get me a regulator. I got air coming in, going through the side port. I put a little air to the side port, and what happens, it opens that valve, which takes tension off the V-bend so that I can remove it easily. Take the air off of it, and it closes. After taking the top hat off, now you can see both springs that came with this kit. You know, if you got like a towel or a name brand wastegate, a lot of times they will come with colors that help you determine which one is which. But if you don't have colors, you can do the hand compression test. What you're doing is you're finding out which spring has the least amount of tension. You can't tell off camera because this ain't virtual reality, but I'm here to tell you that this smaller and bigger spring definitely has more tension than this one. This one is a whole lot lighter. So we're gonna throw that one away and we're gonna put in our 14 PSI spring, and hopefully this will get us close to like 10 PSI. Everything has been torqued to a Milwaukee spec. Can't forget to put this fire ring in. Without that, we have no boost. Now that we got our new wastegate spring in, let's go take it for a ride and see what the new boost pressure is. And let me show y'all something real quick. Check this out. My boy got me this laptop stand. It's almost like highway patrol level, but he work at a place where they got a lot of field service technicians, and he got me this deal. I had to modify it, but now when I tune, I can just do this number. I ain't got to worry about my laptop sliding around and bumping my boy in the head. What up, Leonardo? Since I changed my wastegate spring, I need to go to the turbo icon. I got my stuff boost by speed. Go over to here. I got dome pressure set at 11 PSI. I'm gonna cancel all that, do 0. I don't want any dome pressure. I want to target basically wastegate pressure. So this is no dome added or no pressure we're looking for on the dome. I just want to see how much wastegate we got. All right, we're in third gear. I'm gonna do a little rip right here in third and data log it. Looks like it didn't take it. Pulled up the data log and it was completely blank. Looking back at my logs, I only made 5 PSI. At my peak spot, 5 PSI. Why is it saying 2 PSI for dome? I'm gonna add like 5 pounds on top, see what happens. And it was showing the same boost, but let me try this because this will feel strong this time. I wasn't pleased with the boost setting I was getting from the thicker of the 2 springs. I think we got like 5 pounds. So I think what I want to try to do is I want to double these up and see what that does. Before we head over to the dyno, we need to change out our spark plugs. We're going from a TR6 to a BR7EF. The way it works, you want to go a step colder when you start running a higher boost. Low boost, let's say like 12, 13 pounds or so, you can run the TR6s. This is a good time to look at my ignition strap. It looks like it's burnt, not all the way, not to the first thread, but basically at the base. of that little L shape. Probably could take 1 or 2 degrees of timing out, but that's like basically optimal timing. I number all my stuff so I can also keep track of if I have any issues with any cylinders. Also got a new tool, let me show it to you. Wow, look at that, boy. We got us a Billet aluminum spark plug tester. This thing was, I want to say it was like 20 bucks. But the way it's designed, put your spark plug in there, tighten up on this, put your feeler gauge in, and that's how you get your gap. I did a little bit of research on spark plug gap, ended up at Sloppy Mechanics wiki page. They say somewhere around 18 pounds, around that kind of boost or higher. You want to be in between 20,000 to 24. I'm gonna go on the high end, 24,000. We'll let you know if it gets spark flow out. Dang, that joke already at 24. Wow, that mug is already at 24.